once again, this time, my friends, for another meet and greet. We're Southern Fried and nationwide, so hang on to your seat. Look around, here's what I found. I guess you'll never know what you'll see on the Southern Fried Podcast Show. Yeehaw!
And yeehaw! How is everyone today? Well, it's been a little bit since I did it. I remember that. And we were talking about something, and I wanted to go back. I've been looking for another one. I have several. I remember that. So that's when we get older, we start remembering a lot of things, right? But I remember that, and we were talking about one, and I said I'm going to do that one as an episode of I remember that. And one of the things, I didn't realize when I got to looking at it just how far back diet drinks go. Now it's commonplace, and we've done employee engagement dinners and different kinds of holiday dinners, whatever, and you always offer different kinds of drinks from water to the regular drinks and then your diet drinks. And I was thinking about that, and I've ran the gamut of drinking a lot of different kinds of drinks over the years from being a kid till now, from obviously Kool-Aid or Coca-Cola or something like that. But in older years, I get older. I'm trying to watch sugar levels and things like that. For many years, drank diet drinks and water. Occasionally, something that I would call as leaded has a regular drink of some kind. Do a 50-50 on sweet tea, sometimes. And I have done just, putting the packets in. We'll talk about that a little bit too. But I remember, and my memory goes back to the first one that I ever knew about, because I wasn't around for the first one. I didn't realize how far they went back. I'm going to use um, there's a group called Culinary Lore, and we give them credit, culinarylore.com, and they have an article about some of the early drinks, and I'm going to look at some of their stuff, but I pulled some pictures and stuff, and I put them on one slide because when I put them on there, and kind of go back and talk about the early days. But I wanted to talk about just my memory at first because I was thinking about when I first became aware of something called a diet soda or diet drink. And for me, that was in the 1970s. It was probably around, I'll say I was probably about 12 years old, 12, 13, 14 years old, somewhere in there. My grandmother, who she, worked hard, and I know it was after my grandfather had passed, and she was working before she retired. And she, like a lot of us, she put on a few pounds, and she had joined, or was doing some weight loss things as well. She's a great cook. Grandmothers are great cook, but was really watching what she ate. She was getting away from some of the things they grew up with and was, eating healthier. She switched to a diet drink, and that drink was Tab. And a lot of you remember that. What I didn't remember was somebody told me today, and I pulled a picture of it, was the bottle. We're going to look at that in just a second. But I remember the Tab drink, and that stayed around a lot longer than I thought it did because I think it went all the way up to production until 2020 or something like that, which is amazing because I don't remember seeing it for a long time. But it was really big. I thought it was the first one. I was wrong. Some of you will be going, yeah, you didn't know that? We learn. I don't remember because I never really looked into it. I just remember one day she had these Tab drinks. Of course, I was used to sweet tea, and of course, milk was always available. Water, of course. Orange juice was another drink that she would have in the house. But we never had, regular sodas that I remember. Maybe there was. I don't remember it. As kids, we're pretty much getting the Kool-Aid and milk and water. One day I tried one of the Tabs. Man, I hated it. I thought, how can anybody drink a Tab? And it was very popular because it had been around. And she had brought me down one day to crush some of the cans because you could, obviously still do that today. You don't get as much, I don't think, but you could, turn your cans in, recycle them, and get a little money. she just had hundreds of these things. And she brought me over one day all day, and I crushed cans for her, and I couldn't handle the tab. I drank some water, but I was looking for something with flavor. This before packets and things like that. And I drank orange juice, and she scolded me because I drank all of her orange juice up. That's a vivid memory for me. She wasn't mad. She just was like, "You drank a whole month of orange juice in one day." Growing boy, Grandma, growing boy. But she drank the tab. And now you probably, maybe you watching this, you remember a lot of different kinds. I do later on, but that was the first one I remember. But I want to reference this article again, culinarylore.com. And I didn't know this, that the first diet soda was called No Cal Ginger Ale. And it was created by Hyman Hirsch, a Russian immigrant to New York. He founded that drink company in 1904. So this goes way back now. Ginger ale, maybe you don't think that's like soda, but this is considered the first one. It is a soda. 1904. He later became vice president. Afterwards, he left this and became the vice president of the Jewish Sanitarium for Chronic Disease in New York City, just by way of reference. But he wanted to create a sugar-free drink for diabetic and cardiovascular patients out of the center. So that's kind of how this came about. And sugar-free products using artificial sweeteners had been made since the 1920s. I didn't know that. There were no diet soda beverages on the market. So we move on forward, and I want to show you this. Let me put this card up that I have so we can reference some of the pictures, which is interesting. Some I remember, some I do not. And here is those pictures. Now, we'll work from left to right on your screen. So, in 1952, Kirsch used an artificial sweetener called calcium glutamate to sweeten his first diet soda, a ginger ale he called No Cal. And there we see No Cal. You see her, gotta lose some weight, gotta get the pounds off. No Cal. I do not in any way, shape, or form remember this. No Cal. There's the ad for one of the ads. Time to switch to No Cal. And there was commercials that came along as well. You can look up on YouTube. Time to switch to No Cal. Absolutely non-fattening. And they have, little taglines and stuff. 7 tangy flavors, but No Cal. And so these flavors, which he expanded beyond the reach of the sanitarium, he followed this product with No Cal root beer, black cherry, lime, cola, and even chocolate. And the article goes on to say eventually there were 11 flavors. He advertised the products as a sugar-free soda for weight-conscious women and was able to do quite well. And this is amazing. He sold over 2 million cases of soda in New York and Washington, D.C. alone. And by the end of 1953, the beverages were bringing in over $5 million a year. Think about what that was in the 50s, that kind of money just from those areas. And there is a commercial you can go look up called No Cal Soda. It's a black and white. They're holding No Cal. You can look that up. It featuring the ginger ale, but mentioning the 11 other flavors available. There's a party in every bottle of No Cal. That was the tagline. There is a party in every bottle of No Cal. After all, if you're not going to have something that tastes good, I don't know if it tastes good or not. You gotta throw a party, right? You gotta make it sound like a party. And so, obviously, when you're bringing in that kind of money, and we see that on the screen there, the No Cal, that gets people's attention, investors and inventors and people trying to get, their slice of the pie. So then we come up to Canada Dry, Glamour, and Diet Right. And on the screen, I'm flipping back to an article. There's Diet Right Cola, the little boy looking at the bottles there. That was a typical cardboard case back in the day. Let's talk about that just for a second. Spurred by the success of these first diet sodas, other soda companies soon began making their own. In 1954, the article goes on to say, this is again at culinarylore.com. Canada Dry introduced a 0-calorie ginger ale called Glamour. I do not remember this one either. The Royal Cola Company, which I do remember, released Diet Right Cola, and I do remember this. I don't know how I remember this, but I do remember hearing about this. But I don't remember when it came out because I wasn't alive. Diet Right Cola in 1958. It was sweet with a mixture of the cyclamates and saccharin. There's that word that we've, heard. It was initially marketed to diabetics and sold in drugstores. I didn't know that. But in 1961, Royal Crown decided to try a wider market and launched the product in Chicago supermarkets, claiming it had all the taste but none of the calories. I've heard that tagline before. This was the true spark. Here we go. This is the history. So in 1954, or 1961, excuse me, they go forward. This was the true spark for the diet soda industry. And even bigger players soon followed with their own brands. Diet Right went national the following year. We see the tagline there. Who's drinking all that Diet Right cola? Kind of reminds me of my grandmother about the orange juice. And there's another picture of them sitting around playing cards and holding, they're drinking their Diet Right colas. So we get up now to the area that I kind of remember. So looking at the picture, we see there the NoCal, then the Diet Right cola. And then we're going to come over to the tab. Let me talk about that, and then we'll talk about this glass. Marketing is such a interesting thing. All right. Once Canada Dry and Royal Crown released diet sodas, Pepsi and Coca-Cola had no choice but to get in the game. The first diet soda that Coca-Cola developed was not Diet Coke. We knew that. The company had been warned by advisors that calling a soda Diet Coca-Cola might undermine its trademark. And I didn't know this, that they thought that might do that. So they launched Tab instead. In April, this was just slightly over 2 years before I was born. In April 1963, Tab was said to be a play on people keeping tabs on their weight. I don't remember hearing that tagline, but it makes sense. I was even thinking today, Tab, what did that stand for? But keeping tabs on their weight. Pepsi as well hesitated to use its name on a diet soda product and therefore launched, and I don't remember this, Patio Diet Cola, also in 1963. If you've never heard of Patio, you're not alone. Pepsi changed the name to Diet Pepsi a year later. Oh, that's a good reason why I didn't. And by the way, let me say, I like Diet Pepsi. You got to be a connoisseur, I guess. You either like it or you don't, but I do like it. It's not my favorite, but I do like it. So talking about the tab here, and we see that on the right, and that looks like a typical Coca-Cola kind of ad. I mean, even the fonts and the bold and everything there. What I did not remember, and I remember the tab cans because my grandmother had them. She would buy them by the case, have them around. But is that glass? And I did not remember that. What a great marketing ploy. And I want to think that I probably remember these, or I've seen these, but I don't quite remember it. Seems like a vague memory to me. I don't think she had the glass around. I would have noticed that. I think she just had the cans. She just drank it out of the can, or she might have imported it in a glass. I don't remember because I wasn't there all the time. But and nobody else drank it. I mean, I don't remember anybody else. So it might have been. Some of my family might say, well, one of the children are still living. They may say that I did or they did. I just don't remember it. I was just a kid. But look at the glass, and what a great mental image you have there of slimming your waistline down as you grab that cup. I did not, and again, I don't want to be critical, but I'd love to know if you ever liked Tab. I didn't like it. I didn't like the taste. And again, you're going from all the sugars and stuff that we drank to this. It's very bitter tasting to me. And I guess it's an acquired taste. Once you did it a bunch, and I'm assuming that she acquired a taste for it. It sure doesn't taste like my coffee that I'm sipping on right now. So the Tab glass there with that slimmed in center. I'd love to find one of those. I mean, I imagine there's got to be some still around. I'm sure they produced a lot of them, but I just don't remember them. Interested to know if you do. But let's go on with our article. Okay. Then sugar-free Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper came out with another oddly named product, Dietetic, Dr. Pepper. I do not remember this. In 1962, first in cans and then in bottles. Introduced in 1962, despite the word dietetic, Dr. Pepper never intended the beverage to be just for diabetics or people with other medical problems, but the public sure thought it sounded too medicinal, so sales were quite low. So in 1966, they dropped the weird medical sounding name and changed it to Sugar Free Dr. Pepper. I do remember that. The name was changed to Diet Dr. Pepper in 1987, obviously, and we served some of those at a lunch just recently. They are, in fact, my wife likes them, and I like them. They're okay. I drank one here a week ago, I think. I drank one. Diet Dr. Pepper in 1987. NoCal had also used the word dietetic to describe its products as well. And in looking at our images there on the screen, you can see on the one bottle Dr. Pepper, and then the other one dietetic. I don't remember that. I imagine somebody's got some of those put out, keepsakes, thinking they'll be worth a lot of money or something. Then we move on. Coca-Cola in 1966, which I was, basically about 2 years old, depending on what month, or 1 year old, excuse me, launched a second diet soda, citrus-flavored Fresca. I've had the Fresca too. I would say that I liked it better than the Tab. I'm still not a big fan, but Fresca. 7-Up resisted as long as they could, not wanting to compromise taste, but eventually released sugar-free 7-Up in 1970, which wasn't changed to Diet 7-Up until 1979. I am pretty certain that I never drank that. I don't even know if I remember it. I remember Diet 7-Up. Don't know that I remember sugar-free, but I'm sure I saw it we were in stores or something. This is pretty amazing. Then you come on up a little later, and there's the Fresca on the screen. And I didn't put this on the screen. The brand is so huge. Diet Coke. Diet Coke was released in 1982. Again, we're reading from the article from culinarylore.com about diet drinks. We'll give them full credit here. Diet Coke was released in 1982. Most people don't realize that Diet Pepsi had already been on the market for decades by then, and I did not remember that. Pepsi got the jump, a big one. And that it had at first been Tab versus Diet Pepsi, not Diet Coke versus Diet Pepsi. The Coca-Cola Company had no intention of simply competing with Diet Pepsi with their new Diet Coke. Instead, they planned for Diet Coke to become the second largest selling soft drink of any kind behind Coca-Cola, of course. This is exactly what eventually happened, and Coke was helped along by the attacks on sugar in the late 70s, which I remember, which bolstered the diet soda market greatly. Today, the diet soda industry is worth not 5 million, billions. NoCal Sodas, the brand that launched a billion-dollar industry, could not compete for long after such big players came into the market and dissipated from the market in the 1960s. The NoCal soda brand was relaunched in 2005. I don't know if I remember this or not, but I do remember the name, the Innovate, I guess we're trying to play on words there, INOV8, right? Beverage Company, LLC, which offers vanilla cream, which I wouldn't like that, cherry lime, interesting, clementine, interesting as well, and believe it or not, chocolate. I don't think I'd like that. Curiously, the company, in describing the NoCal product, speaks of the fun attitude that was the hallmark of the the soft drink attitude before the food police came along and told us that we couldn't drink or eat. It seems they are unaware that the soda brand was initially marketed for a serious condition, and of course, the popularity of diet sodas had everything to do with the food police telling us that we couldn't eat or drink, i.e., sugar. Oh well, that's marketing. The cyclamate and saccharin problems. Now, I do remember this. And we'll come up to the modern time before we come to a close today. The early cyclamates that had been used for sweetening diet sodas were banned by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration in 1970. Around the time, I wonder if this is coincidental or not. A lot of things were happening around the early 70s. OSHA was established by President Nixon in 1970, as well as the EPA around the same time, and then the Food and Drug in 1970 because of the potential carcinogenic effects of its metabolites. So saccharin took the place of the cyclamates. But saccharin was the subject of its own cancer scare. And somebody mentioned that today, that there was this ban or this fear or this thought In a 1977 study claimed it caused cancer in lab animals. A moratorium was placed on its use, but was later lifted in 1991 after saccharin was vindicated. Now, I don't ever hear about saccharin anymore because we've got a new thing on the market, right? Newer sweeteners, which I have used a lot of them, such as the aspartame, NutraSweet, and Equal. I love both. Had taken its place by that time. Itself claimed to cause many ill health effects. Now, some would not like this statement. I'm reading from the article, none of which have been proven. I remember people at my work several years ago going, "You've got to quit drinking the aspartame." Well, where'd they get that? Social media. That really has driven a lot of stuff like that. I have no clue. Somebody may have studies. I don't. But I do know that a lot of people said you've got to stop drinking aspartame. If you do, your skin will clear up. You're killing your liver and your kidneys, and especially kidneys, I guess, and all that. I've never seen anything. I haven't noticed an epidemic. I'll say that, but not here to argue. I remember for show. Splenda, sucralose, is now widely used, and I like Splenda. And Coca-Cola introduced Diet Coke with Splenda in 2005. So that's the end of that article. And I just think that's interesting when we think about the diet drinks and the evolution of them. I had no idea that diet drinks went back that far. But that is interesting. Of course, I'm not showing every different kind on here. Just wanted to keep it to some major players here to help share the history and to look at, which I think that is a cool glass. I love it. I may not like the drink, but I like that glass. I think that is pretty cool. So I'd be interested. You can always email us at Southern Fried Podcast at yahoo.com, and I would love to know your diet drink story or what you feel about it. If you have a problem with the aspartame, or and I would just say, the best thing we know is water. Now today, very popular is the packets that get put into water. And for us, we are partnered with Dubby, the energy drink, and Dubby is no sugar. So those it's the same deal. You can get it in the drink, or you can get it in the powder, same thing, or you can get it in the little packets. And we're going to advertise all three of those soon on air. I just got my Dubby. I thought I brought it back in here into the studio, but I left it in the living room. But I drank water out of it today. I'm waiting to get my shipment in, and we'll be doing that. And so it is no sugar, which is great because then I can have it. Now it does have caffeine, and I know that's not great, but so is my coffee, and I'm not drinking. It's not caffeine free. But it is an amazing, and how marketing played a factor here. People, even way back in early days, this was more started out in sanitariums, but then people started, and it was said females were driving this, concerned about their figures. So that really started driving the market. And now it's just a thing. And so when you go to restaurants, you usually have the little container there that has all the packets in there, or sometimes you have to ask it. I think you're asking for it more now because I think people steal them. Sadly, they'll grab up some for the take-home drink, and they'll just grab enough for a month or something. I'm exaggerating only a little bit, but I've noticed a lot of places, because of the cost of things, you have to ask for it, and they'll bring it out and they'll take it back when you're done. Same thing with other things as well. And the packets are huge. People got their bottle of water. Now people are kind of shifting away because the plastics are going to the like the Dubby bottle that I have, or another similar one that may be one of those that stay cold for days. Mine is not days, but it was very nice. I drank out of it today. And they'll put the little packets in there, and you don't have to carry around as much, obviously, because it's just a packet, and so it's not heavy to carry around. And there are those that we have to consider that when we're serving people, and so when you go to the convenience store now to get a soda, they got to have two sets. I mean, there's all these different types. And imagine it's really stiff competition to get in there because they think of all the people that's coming in. So you got your regular, you got your diet, you got your flavor type of sodas, or you can just get ice water still as well. And those have become very popular, and I get them too. Uh, my drink of choice on the diet side, I do like Diet Coke. And I know this is the competition of different things, but I like a Diet Mountain Dew. It's a little easier on my system. Diet Coke is, it's a little lighter. It's Diet Coke being darker. So I don't know what you do, or and then obviously the best thing is water. I try to drink as much of that as I can. But I was telling somebody today when I'm eating, maybe it's just me. I can drink water with my meal, but I like to have a soda to eat when I eat my meal. It just seems to make things go better. Water is fine. I don't know. Just the flavor of it, I guess, kind of goes with the food. Maybe it's, who knows what it is. Marketing, they got it figured out. So interesting. I hope that's been informative to you. I remember that. We'll try to have another one show soon. I've got 2 or 3 things I want to cover, but this one jumped to the front, and we've just been busy, as Robert was saying today in the Pet of the Week. There's been a lot going on, and we're trying to get back on track here. So I remember that. Last show was about the movie theaters, and there's still some out there. I remember the early days of the diet drinks, and I guess in some way, when I heard that today, even just today, I heard that it's 2020. Not that I wanted to drink it, but it kind of put a stamp on a memory of mine, and it just made me think of all those early days of being at my grandma's and seeing those tab cans, and I crushed a whole bunch of them for her. And I think she might have, as I sit here and think about it, she might have had another. I want to think maybe she had some Fresca too. A little, or maybe it was different flavor. I don't know, but I do remember thinking there was a lighter colored can, because that color was the one I remember. I don't remember the taller can like that, though. The one she had was shorter, if I remember correctly. So anyway, diet soda, who would have known? Now it's a huge industry of billions of dollars. Every major player is involved in it. And as people are, focusing on health and things like that, you still have your people that drink the regular sodas. They're huge all around the world. But the diet soda market is huge as well. And now you go to the store and you've got whole cases just full of different kinds of water, flavored, just regular water, smart waters. They got it all. It's amazing, and they're marketing all that stuff to us. I just find that interesting, and that it is all in the marketing, as they said. Got to find me one of those glasses. I think that would be cool, just to have on the shelf behind me or something, and be a nice memory as I come into the studio. Or maybe if you can't even see it, be one for me. I like stuff like that. So anyway, have a great day. We appreciate you. Thanks for the Southern Fried Podcast is growing every day. I do want to say, before we close, I mentioned it, but we do have the Dubby, and when you use the code Southern Fried, which is found on this one, on the right of your screen there, go to the Dubby website. You just type in Dubby, you probably find it. That's the address, the official address that we have. Use promo code Southern Fried, you get 10% off. And yeah, you could probably get 10% just put an email in, but if you'll do that, put that Southern Fried in there, it helps us. And then also our Mammoth Nation, you can QR code there. And I guess I could drop that so make sure it works when you watch this. And if you'll join, you can join as little as $5 a month. And it's all American-made products, and it's patriotism, and it's all about America, and it helps veterans. And I really like Mammoth Nation. I like W. They've been a good friend to us. And then a couple of ways you can donate, sort of buy us a cup of coffee if you want to think of it that way, the Venmo and the PayPal QR code. Some people are a little funny about those things, I understand. So PayPal is very big as well, and very easy to do. And thank you for all the support. And if it's just praying for us, or giving us a like and a follow and a share, just sitting and watching through a program, all those things, they're all helpful to us. And we are working hard every day to bring more and more things to you. And we're building our brand, so to speak, our marketing, and all those things help with that. And you're going to be seeing more and more into 2025. We have some big plans, and just pray for us because we really are excited about it. Very soon we'll have an email marketing campaign. We'd love for you to be a part. Our first beta version, I guess you would say, we're trying to get up our first 500 emails. We won't cover you up, I promise, once a week. But we'll put all of our marketing things about our shows, a little bit of background stuff. We're going to try to put some special stuff that's just in our email to give you a little surprise in your emails about stuff. And don't forget our store, which has a lot of products, over 250 different kinds of products. And I don't think I have an overlay of the store. We have the commercial. But I tell you what, I'll run the commercial, then we'll close the program. Thanks a lot. And again, we appreciate you. Southern Fried Podcast is found on 15 different streams, and that may grow even more. And we're trying to build all those at the same time. Now, some of the streams don't have everything we do because they just don't allow that type of length of program. But we do have something on there. So whether you're on TikTok or Clapper or YouTube or Facebook or X, Truth, Getter, the list goes on and on. Please follow us somewhere. And we will soon, hopefully, working on it, website, and we'll have all the links on there. We're working hard. Lots of things happening behind the scenes, like I said. And so let me run this commercial. Then we'll put up the other thing just for a minute, and then we'll close. We'll see you next time. I remember that. It's fun to look back, right? The older you get, the more you remember. Then you forget it, maybe. Hopefully not. Have a great day, and God bless. Salute. The Southern Fried Podcast now has its own store. Go to sfplive.com/store. These links are also found on Facebook and X and some of the other social streams. You will find shirts and hats and mugs and bags and all kinds of items with many different designs. These are just but a few of the more than 250 items that we have with different designs. We hope you'll come and shop, support the podcast. Every dollar that is paid will go towards keeping the podcast growing, and we thank you for your support. sfplive.com/store. Go shop today and get that favorite person in your life their Southern Fried Podcast item, and it'll help us advertise the podcast as you wear these things or take these things out into the public. We thank you for your support. If you have any questions, email us at southernfriedpodcast@yahoo.com. We'll be glad to answer. We're running some specials as well, 20, 25, and even 30% off in some cases. This will eliminate the mailing charges for sure. So go to sfplive.com/store for your Southern Fried Podcast items today. Remember, Christmas is just around the corner. Thank you.
Well, once again, it's time, my friends, for another meet and greet. We're Southern Fried and nationwide, so hang on to your seat. Look around, here's what I found. I guess you'll never know what you'll see on the Southern Fried Podcast.